that is dominated by wanting, craving, and seeking happiness through possession, sensation, and relationship. Means I'm seeking happiness outside where it is not. So, why it becomes the binding? Because it is not there, and I have a false assumption that it is there. So, I'm constantly bound by it, that I'm attached to it. And that results into habit and addiction and obsession and the suffering in our life. Normally, we say that in the young age we have lot of wanting, craving, but that craving continues even in the old age with lot of people. So that permanent peace and happiness remain elusive. So that is the very fundamental problem, that we do not look at our binding desire. What binds me, what creates an obsession, and what creates a kind of a wanting and a craving, because I'm seeking peace and happiness outside in the world, and which is not possible at all. And we do not understand. Why we do not understand? Because we have a sense of false assumption. It is a mistaken identity. Whatever we say, no, my son will be happy today, my daughter will. No, nothing happens to that sort. I have to look inside me. Binding desire they arise basically from the sense of incompleteness. I feel I'm not complete in myself. So if I grab this thing, I'll be happy. If I take this, I'll be happy. Seeking wholeness. I'm incomplete. I'm seeking a sense of completeness by acquiring, by possessing, by entering into some kind of sensation, uh, pleasure seeking. So there inside our head, there is a desirer. One is desire and other is a desirer. And that desirer is ego. That is how our masters explained. No, I cannot do without, if I don't eat pasta, I will be unhappy. So that desire is called the ego. Now, if you behave like this, then I will be happy. So that there is a desire, there is an expectation in relationship, in eating, in possessing something, and it's a long list. Leads to constantly seeking happiness outside through possession, through experiences, and people. But if we look inside, look deeper inside, we examine whether anything outside has a property of peace and happiness, and the answer is big no. The happiness does not contain in the pasta. Happiness does not contain in the bank account. Happiness does not contain in a big house. That sense of mind is clouded. And why the mind is clouded? Because the desirer is there. So what the desirer says, no, no, keep on seeking something outside, you will be happy. One day you will be happy. And that one day never comes. Now we are 70s and 80s and 90 years old. That seeking never comes in our life. Instead, what happens? I am seeking happiness that turns into unhappiness, a sense of discontentment. And that is because of the binding desire. And another problem, the binding desire keeps on shifting because the pleasure and the pain are not fixed. Another problem is there that we don't realize what brings joy today may lead to displeasure tomorrow with the same person, with the same event, with the same situation. I'm happy with one person today and I will be unhappy tomorrow. So deep inside, it is the likes and dislikes in the mind are working. And that likes and dislikes in the desirer causes the attachment and detachment. You see the entire process. It is not, it's a pragmatic approach, it's not philosophical. Likes and dislikes determine how we react to the people and experiences. But happiness does not lie in the fickle external things. There are two girls from the Ukraine. So one girl who was a translator approached by the first one, and they had a wonderful happy relationship. And after a month, and they stopped talking to each other, and they sent an email to me that she is crazy, and the other both sent the email to me that other one is crazy. And then I thought of a plan, so I started sharing their emails to them, and I asked them that who is true, tell me. And they both started arguing that I am true, other is crazy. I said, you both are crazy. you both are crazy. Can you justify? And now, after a month, after it has been now 3 months, they have not been talking to each other. And I said, is there a chance for returning to the same wonderful relationship? There is no chance. It means you are not attending my session. Even after attending my session, you don't have a sense of contemplation and reflection. You don't reflect on it. That there is no need. So then I asked both of them in a group session, that can you give me 3 benefits that you are blaming and complaining each one? And they kept a very big face. I said, very happy. I'm very happy. Keep a big face. I'm teaching you how to get happiness, and both are unhappy. So you see that kind of an obsession. People don't want to understand. Intellectually, they get it, but they don't want to change. In the last session, I said, can you both of you talk to each other and say sorry to each other, bury your differences and start. That is the way of the Eastern wisdom. Not ready. Not ready. So that is why we say the ignorance causes the suffering. That is why we say the ignorance causes the suffering. Fulfilling desires provide momentary happiness, but there is no permanent contentment. There is a short-lived pleasure. And ultimately, after the short-lived pleasure, there is a sense of hollowness in my mind. And to fill that hollowness, I start searching someone else. Some other situation, some other event. One woman who told me that every time, I invite 10 people for a Thanksgiving, and I'm always scared. I go into anxiety. No one appreciates me. I said, why you are celebrating that? You are expecting the happiness should come from outside. No, no, I am a mother, so I have to celebrate. I said, there is no need to celebrate if the Thanksgiving celebration puts you into anxiety. So you have to discover within yourself that why it is happening. But this time she celebrated calmly. She said, I did not expect anything. I said, you start. Your mind should be in a giving mode. The moment you wake up in the morning on a Thanksgiving day, anyone comes, you share your happiness, you share your food, you share your gift, you focus on that. So when you are in a giving mode, you are a contributor, the mind changes, that desire changes. Otherwise, that is why we have to, that is why we celebrate Thanksgiving. But if I'm grateful to everyone, and no, I'm not grateful. I'm full of the expectations. That is not Thanksgiving. So our master says that I have to go beyond the binding desire. First, I have to mentally think, intellectually understand it, that it is the binding desire in my head, not a situation, not a person or a relationship is causing the anxiety and the discontentment. And once we understand this, we repeat in our head, that ego mind, that desire starts dropping. And once it drops, we move into, we start moving into a sense of happiness. And that we don't want to do. Mind is so much overwhelmed. And so, what it means? It simply means the mind is turning inward, mind is moving inside. And that is where the Eastern wisdom journey starts. Every time, with awareness, I move my mind within. If I translate all these into different points, so intellectually and mentally, I have to recognize the root cause of suffering. Root cause of the suffering is the mistaken identity. Mistaken identities, that means that I am searching happiness and peace and love and the wisdom from outside, from a situation, from an event, from a relationship. It is not possible. If I am seeking, there is the ego self taken over, and that ego self is known as the desirer. See the changing nature. So I have to see the changing nature of the mind. When women wrote to me that, I am learning from you, she wrote very wisely that, now I have started seeing reaction against my husband, which changes my behavior and attitude. And she further wrote that I'm not asking you for any solution. I know that by listening and learning to what you teach to us will help me get rid of this reaction. What a great statement she made. So it means, I become aware. I am becoming aware of the changing nature of the mind. She further wrote that you rightly told me that when I loved my husband, when he was not my husband, I loved him so much. But now that love is fading. So that love was because of the attachment. I thought that the husband will give me all happiness. And I said, you are a great seeker. Once we understand that, so that reaction subsides, that anguishness, that anxiety drops. Otherwise, our desires keep changing. So I'm happy with this guy. So I got married, now I'm unhappy with this guy. So I have to leave. I have to find someone else. So once we discover that, then we can go beyond the joy, or then we can go beyond the pleasure seeking mind from the external world. So you are contributing, say, to your Philip's life. So that contribution makes you happy. You hardly expect anything from them. So it means that there the desirer element drops and dissolves. So this is one way to treat the mind. So because I always have a receiving nature, expecting nature. So that is changing to a contribution, a giving nature. And that is why even the Eastern wisdom tradition talks of the charity chalked of giving. That's at a very primary level, if the people do not understand mentally and intellectually. It makes me free. A sense of freedom comes, now I'm giving. So Eastern wisdom provides practical steps to transcend that binding desire, reminding us that the true self, the real self, is within me. It is different from the desire or that ego self. And that begins the journey of meditation. Further in meditation, then we talk about it that what we do in meditation to recognize and realize my real self, not the desirer. Every time the desirer enters into the mind, I examine it and I drop it. That I'm not expecting happiness from the world outside.
Oh.
It does not mean that I stop talking to the people. I start expressing my peace and happiness. People have a wrong notion. Because I always communicate, my desirer always wants to communicate with the expectation, with an attachment. So those people think as if I have to stop talking. I have nothing to do with the world. No, I have to do everything to the world.
But sometimes it helps stop talking.
Yeah.
When I think of Lily,
it helps only if you.
It was very difficult to stay with her.
So it only helps you if you are examining your mind. You have realized that if you are going to talk to this person, he is full of expectation and he is going to react. So it is better to withdraw yourself.
Yeah.
But in other cases, you always ready to express your peace and happiness with other people. So you are expressing peace and happiness, you are not seeking peace and happiness.
Right.
So that is why the world is there. The world is there to give. The world is not there to always receive.
Right.
That point is understood in the Eastern psychology. So because why? Because we understand that the mind is fickle, happiness depends on it, and it keeps on changing. So when I recognize that peace and happiness keeps on changing, and that is not the real peace and happiness. It comes because of my attachment. It comes because I depend on somebody mentally, emotionally, physically, situationally. That needs to be corrected. So, mind needs to be corrected. But the desirer is constantly driving me to the external things. So if we simply answer the question that what causes the human suffering and how can we attain the real happiness? So it is happening in my mind. Suffering is caused by falsely identifying with the ego self that drives craving and the seeking outside. That should stop. So that is why I'm using the word binding desire. Why it binds me. If no one appreciates me, then my mind keeps on thinking, now I will teach him a lesson because no one appreciated me. So, and there are other desires. You have an urge to go to the restroom. That is not causing any problem. You are hungry. You go to the kitchen and eat food. That is not causing any problem. You see, so one is simply desire for survival is necessary. So we are not saying that we should not have a desire. We are saying that we should not have a binding desire that creates a desire, and that desire is constantly seeking peace, happiness, love, and wisdom from the world outside. Not possible. But if the mind is constantly changing, how can we achieve the lasting happiness? If the mind is constantly changing, mind is constantly changing because my mind is fickle minded. It is constantly changing the objects, people, relationship outside. So we get some idea that I withdraw the mind from outside to inside, will it work? Yes, it will work. That is the beginning of meditation. We have a simple understanding. So ultimately, what happens when this mind recognizes and realizes that there is a center inside me, or you can simply say real self, or you can simply say it is a pure consciousness. So once the mind realizes that there is a center which is unchanging, which is not affected and dictated by any outer situation, event, people, and relationship, we have found the real self. That is what is known as awakening. That is what is known as awakening. But if we don't do it, then we are caught in a repetitive cycle of desire, craving, momentary pleasure. Lack of inner stillness is there. Tranquility will not be there. Mental fatigue and exhaustion is always there. And I always feel that I'm lacking something. A sense of hollowness will always be there. Because the mind is not happy with whatever the situation, people, and the relationship is there. And that causes the imbalance in our life. That causes a lot of worries and problems. But if we understand, if we follow it, the life changes. So let us start our journey. Close your eyes, and eyes are closed. Position of the body. Find out the most comfortable position of your body. Sitting or any position of the body that you prefer, you like. Eyes are closed. and gently closed, and find out the most comfortable position of your body. So when you feel that position of the body, then we slowly raise our awareness by being comfortable in that position of the body which the mind is recognizing and aware of. We go a little deeper. We mentally look at the neck joint, mentally look at the neck joint. And when looking means that you feel, you experience the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. Mind is moving on the shoulder joints. You are looking at both the shoulder joints mentally, emotionally, and you feel the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. In the very beginning of any meditation, it is very important that we should move slowly with awareness. If we don't move with awareness, the mind continues to desire outside. So when you look at the shoulder joints be there, you feel the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. Move the mind, move the mind on the hip joint, be there, feel the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. Move the mind on the entire body. So simple to understand that mentally you are looking at your body. Why? Because the desirer in the mind always has a thought image about a person, about an event, about a relationship. So here we have a thought image of the body to make it very clear and practical. So when you have a thought image of the body, you feel the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. So we also have a thought image about the relationship, and their mind projects happiness. And when we are comfortable, the mind starts moving within. It says it is the first station at the physical level, being comfortable. So moving inside is rise in awareness. So when I say look inside the forehead, it is rise in awareness. You are not looking at any object, people, relationship. You are just aware. In that awareness, you see the thoughts are coming and going. These thoughts are like the birds flying in the sky. Sky is nothing but the space. We recognize that the space is all around the birds that is flying. And then we see the birds are flying from one side to the other, and they dissolve, they disappear, and the space continues to remain present. So what we say that you keep on watching observing, witnessing the thoughts, feeling, sensations that arise in the mind. They are nothing like the birds flying in the mind. Again, understand, mind is the container. Mind is not a content. Space is a container of the birds. Space is not the bird. You see how our masters teach us. So, here what happens? We separate, we feel a sense of separation from the influx of thoughts into the mind. And that is the power of discernment that results into dispassion, and we feel a sense of freedom by being carefree. Let us move little deeper. You look at the head and the neck. And I have been saying along that you move your mind on the skin of the head and the neck. Be there, you'll have a deeper sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Move the mind. Whether I say move the mind or I say be aware of the right arm from the shoulder to the fingertips, the mind moves on the skin of the right arm, and you feel sensation, comfort, and stillness. Oh, it is natural. It is not that you are doing something, that is why you have a sensation, relaxation, and stillness. By default, it is always there because the mind is always running outside, moving outside. That is why we don't recognize that. So here you are simply recognizing a cognition, recognition. So the mind is moving on the left arm from the shoulder to the fingertips and experiencing sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Mind is moving on the chest and the belly. So it means mind is moving on the chest and the belly, means your mind is looking the skin. Mind is moving on the skin of the chest and the belly. Why I say so? So that your mind goes very close to the body, and when it goes very close, it is a rise in awareness. Because of the rise in awareness, you experience sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Moving the mind on the right leg from the right side of the waist to the toes, as if the mind is covering the entire right thigh, knee, calf, ankle, heel, sole, toes. You will start experiencing the rise in sensation. It is already there. because the mind has started moving inside. That is why it is experiencing sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Mind is moving on the left leg, being there, sensation, comfort, and stillness. Today we are so-called, I categorize meditation into two categories. One is passive meditation and other is active meditation. So what is passive meditation? Where we simply move the mind without doing anything to rise in awareness. So to say, the mind starts living within without any binding desire that results into peace and the joy. So moving the mind on the entire body as if the way I am looking at your body, you are also looking at your body, as if the mind is looking at our body from too far a distance. That is a pointed awareness, and we experience the sensation, relaxation, and stillness. So our masters introduces the three layers of existence here. The first layer is the physical. That physical is seen by, perceived by sense organs, by the senses. And the second is the subtle. Second is the subtle or the mental, by which mental layer. No, I cannot see your thought. You cannot see my thought in the sensation. That's why we say it is not seen by the senses. So it is the mental layer, subtle layer, where we have thoughts and feeling and the sensations and emotions, thoughts, feelings, sensations, and emotions that we don't see, but when they express on the body, then only we have some idea about it. What about the third layer? So the third layer is known as the spiritual, whether you say it's a spiritual layer or whether we say it is a consciousness without name and the form. Consciousness does not have any name and the form, but it is there. We have an insight. It is very clear to everyone, especially all the human beings. So when this mind merges into the third layer, that is what is known as the spirituality. I'm not talking of religions. And for that we have hundreds of processes, and one of them the Buddha has taught us. Just look at the breath. Look at the breath. What it means, we say breath awareness. But we forget, if we do not go deeply or do not have a clear understanding. So how to make that clear understanding? That is why I say first experience, breath is going in and out. Second experience is you feel the sensation of the breath going in and out. Where? At the nose or at the tip of the nose. Third, let us introduce you. Breath cannot move without space. So it means there is a space where the breath is moving. So if we are aware of the three steps, can it happen in a day? No, we keep on doing it. Keep on aware of the breath, the three pointed awareness of the breath. And fairly, it's a pragmatic approach. Breath is going in and out of the body, we are aware. So every time the breath strikes the nose, we feel the sensation. So I'm aware of the sensation of the breath going in and coming out. And the third is the space where, after all, has to be a space where the breath is moving. So it means I'm aware of there is a three pointed awareness of the breath. Now you can check the how mind behaves. How mind behaves? Sometimes we have many thoughts, we forget, and then we remember, and then we go again to the. Sometime mind says there is nothing, so better sleep. So that is the reason mind falls into sleep. Why? It does not have any image of any object, people in the relationship, which it has been obsessed for so long. So the mind says there is no obsession, there is no attachment. So it is, let me fall into sleep. And then there is a constant hesitation, sometime due to emotion, reaction, that enters the mind, makes us forget to be aware of the breath. So these are the impurities in the mind. So either if we continue to do it, we persist it, we endure it, and sometime for hours together, there comes the real understanding and experience of the meditation. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. It's a thought image. And raise both your palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms, know your experiences. Bring the hands down, we'll share our experiences now. You have to unmute. How are you?
Yeah, I find I felt I had problems breathing. I was I was unable to breathe through. That was strange.
Ah, but we did not do any breathing practice.
No, but I thought of breathing.
Uh, so that short of breathing, don't worry about it. That is how the mind creates a problem.
But
My,
that's probably
yeah, mind creates a
yeah,
feeling as if you have short of the breath because the
yeah.
mind is turning inside. So we need not to worry. We just keep our mind
Okay.
on the breath.
Okay.
So because there is no question of being short of the breath, you are not doing any. You are not breathing after all. You are not making any effort.
Yeah. Right. I
Well,
don't
that
know.
that is how the mind creates a problem.
Yeah. That's right. The mind will always find a way to create a problem.
So mind always creates a problem unless we understand it clearly, and then we feel, oh, now it is the mind that is creating a problem.
Yeah.
So, why it is not? I'm life journey. So, so that is how.